Welcome back to the Better Learning Podcast. This episode comes from a special series we recorded live at CASBO conference in California, also known as the California Association of School Business Officials. While we were there, we conducted interviews with district leaders, business officials, and partners from across California to talk about what's really driving decisions in schools right now. So throughout this series, you'll hear honest, on-the-ground perspectives about what it takes to align resources with vision and where schools are finding opportunities to move things forward. Without further ado, let's dive in.
Hey everyone, Jeff Kubiak here from K-12 with the Better Learning Podcast, and we are live at CASBO down in San Diego. And I have an amazing superintendent from the Lake Tahoe Unified School District, the man, Todd Cutler. Welcome, Todd.
Hey, well, thank you. I appreciate being here.
All right. So Todd does a lot of great work, and their district is a small district, but it's mighty and it's beautiful. If anyone's up in the Tahoe area, please visit. So Todd, as a school leader, in your experience, what separates a school that simply functions from one that truly transforms the community?
Let me say this. People ask me, what's your why? That's a big thing. And
yeah,
what's your why? And I think over the years, my why has progressed as I've moved through different positions in education. But the one thing I would always say, because you asked about community, I think an education system is building for the future of the entire community. What we do as we develop and work with our families and our students is actually producing what the community is going to be like in years and years to come. So that's the impact on the community, right? As we develop and have high expectations of what we do for students and what we bring to the community, and we focus on how we build that culture, that has this long-lasting impact and effect 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road in that community, right? And so this is important work that we do around how does it impact the community. It impacts the community today and well into the many, many years in the future.
Okay, so let's spin on that. Let's take South Lake Tahoe High and let's think about legacy, because you're talking into the future.
Yeah.
And so what's maybe a community-oriented thing that you guys are trying to push to get the legacy of learners there?
Well, I think this, right? And our vision of the district is really to make sure we foster and find the extreme talents of each of our students and make sure we take care of those students and their talents, their specific abilities and skills. We can say, hey, we're about reading, writing, and arithmetic. We can say those things. And that's important. We have to do that, right? But what we have to do is say, what's the talents and skills of our students? And how are we developing those so that they can be as successful as they possibly can be well into the future? So when we say that, it's about educating the whole child. It's about connecting that child for what's next in their life and preparing them for what's next year, but what's next as they move and progress forward. And you talk about South Tahoe High School, for a high school of just at about 1,000 kids, we have probably, in my mind, and I'll brag, the best career tech education programs around. And if you came to our high school, you'd be like, oh my gosh, you guys are doing incredible things. But we're also doing incredible things for the career tech ed and that pathway. We're also doing incredible things for the pathway to going to college. We have an incredible relationship with our Lake Tahoe Community College, doing dual enrollment classes and getting kids to take classes while they're in high school, getting them prepared for their future. So there's this, as we think about going all the way down to TK and moving our students through, it's like, what are we doing next to prepare them as then they arrive at our high school for those final years to make sure they're ready to take on what they want to accomplish and their skill sets and their abilities so they can be successful.
I love that. And you've got these buildings, some of them you have projects upcoming, but what does a building need for your teachers if it's truly going to elevate the instruction rather than simply house it?
Yeah. We recently passed a bond, and in our facilities master plan that we built, I arrived in Tahoe in 2020, started building a facilities master plan, actually failed at a bond in 22, but then we kind of kept tinkering around with the facilities master plan and then passed our bond in 2024. But one of those pieces is, how are we creating environments in the classroom that are going to impact well into the future our students And what do I mean by that? Well, I have a superintendent student advisory council, and they talk to me all the time about how when classrooms are more engaging, when classrooms are more of an environment that fits them, they're going to be more engaged and want to be in school. And so we really focus on how are we creating an environment that is flexible, fluid, has the ability to do different things with our students around the curriculum, and that they can feel respected about that environment. The teachers can be uniquely engaged in that environment to make sure that our students are learning all that they need to learn. I will say this. So one of the first environments we changed around was our continuation high school.
Okay.
Because we said, you know what? We want those students to know, number one, we care about them. And number two, that we also have high expectations of how they're going to perform and how they're going to prepare themselves to get ready for the next set of choices in their life, right? And so that's what our goal is. We're going to create classroom environments that are respectful of the students and their learning, and the teachers and what they want to accomplish, engaging students in learning.
Amazing. So when continuation is a great topic to bring into this. So student voice, student empowerment, or student agency, right? How are you involving that, and what are you doing to enhance that in your campuses?
So we working with partners and working with folks to help guide that. We've been piloting environments and actually setting standards for each of our grade levels, each of our subject areas, or what does a standard environment look like that we expect to have available for our teachers and our students in their learning. And one of the things we do is we observe, number one, we train teachers around that and how do they engage in that. Well, we do pilots, right? And we teach, and for a teacher to get a pilot environment, they have to do some training, and then they have to be observed in that environment with students. And then we survey the students and the teachers to give us feedback about how is this environment working for them.
Is there discussion after all the feedbacks come, and can it be discussed within a classroom or a school?
I would tell you this, we collect all that information, we present it to our board, we talk about what it is, and we're setting the standard of expectations of what a classroom looks like in 2026 and beyond for Lake Tahoe Unified School District. And people are engaged in that, yes.
That's fantastic. You've had some great partnerships and things. How do you align your partnerships with, let's say, architects, designers, FF&E partners, and other vendors to ensure those spaces are truly set up to support the learning?
I'm a believer that partners are everything in this business with us. That a school district doesn't accomplish much without having partners. Local partners, and then those partners that are specific to the things we're working on. Maybe that's an architect firm, a construction company, a learning environment company. They're our partners. And and I'll tell you, if anybody wants to talk to me about selling me something, I don't want to talk to them. I want to talk to them about the partnership and how we work together, and what I'm looking for in a partner, and the expectations I have, and the things that I want to work and accomplish to do that. And whether that's our architect that's designing our environments, or if that's the builder that's actually building, they're not working independently of us. They're working for us with expectations, but we're also partners, and we work collaboratively together in that. It's not, and I'm probably a little more hands-on superintendent, and we do, we're a school district of 3,500 kids.
Yeah.
So it's in essence, you started, we're a little bit small. We're not the smallest of districts, but I have my hand and my pulse into that work.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's great. So you walk into a school building and one of your campuses, how do you tell that it's thriving, and what are those indicators to you?
It's funny, I want to tell you this.
Yeah.
I walk with principals and I'm like, slow down. Why are you walking so fast? You got to walk with intention. No. You got to walk with your eyes and ears open. You got to look and watch and see the energy or the lack of energy, the excitement or the lack of excitement. And, it's really fun and exciting when you walk into a classroom and you see a teacher that is so engaged with kids, and they're not just sitting there working on worksheets, but maybe they are, but they have intention, and they're fully engaged in whatever that activity the teacher is providing them at that moment. The teacher is upbeat, holding students accountable, yet building a relationship with them. You can see the rapport and the respect that they have for each other in that environment, from all the way down to TK, all the way up to the high school, right? So and by the way, we all are trying to keep working on this, right? It's not, none of this is perfect in any of our school settings. We're always working on culture. We're always working on that climate that helps people feel like they care. We care. In our district, we say this, everyone matters. Every student matters. But by the way, if all we care about is the students and the staff is going to be like, what about us? And then we're going to let those students down. So every staff member matters. And then we have to build connections with them. So when I walk in, I'm looking for that, has relationships, those connections, the feeling of comfort, yet expectation. That's what I'm looking for. And I think it's very easy to see when you slow down. I tell principals when I'm coaching them on observing classrooms. And by the way, most of them don't know who this is because they're also darn young anymore. But I say, Steve Young entered the NFL. He scrambled all over the place because he couldn't see it, right? It was like going too fast for him. But all of a sudden he slowed down and everything with the game slowed down. He sat in the pocket and started picking them apart. And you're in an observing classroom, so let it slow and see it. And be looking for not just what's the teacher doing, what's the students doing, but what's the relationship, what's the connection, what's the level of engagement.
Yeah. And, when I was a site principal, one thing that I really liked about observing was when you walk into a classroom, maybe you get a quick hello or whatever, but everyone is embedded in what they're doing and there's no dog and pony.
Yeah.
And the teachers that want you to be there are just flowing in it, right? But the ones that are kind of not are trying to do something different. You can feel that.
It's normal.
Yeah,
the superintendent walks in a door that they get a little nervous, or a board member was coming along with me or whatever. So sometimes I go, you got to give teachers grace because teachers are with kids all day. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So an adult walks in the room, it might be a little stressful. But you could, even when they get stressed, you can see if the kids care about their teacher, if the teacher cares about them, you can see it. It's immediate.
Yep.
And
sure.
it says being a principal,
Yeah. Radically student-centered.
Yeah.
So at K-12, we use what's called a radically student-centered approach. How do you interpret that in your daily work or in your vision as a district leader?
We're in this business for kids. And I talked earlier in this conversation about, hey, we're going to prepare them for what's next in their life. If we're not completely focused on making sure we do that radically, then we're probably going to fall short. We have to be totally centered on what is truly best for kids. And by the way, sometimes we get caught in, but I love them so much, right? We can't hold expectations to them because, they're having a tough time. No, if we're going to be radically committed to kids, we also have to hold a bar up for them and say, you can get here. And I see this at times where we lower those bars and it's not necessarily intentional. I'm a teacher. I love these kids so much, and I feel for them, and I know they're struggling, so let me make it easier on them. And I'm like, no. Radically, we're going to step that bar up because we know even if in that child's life that's having a tough time, and by the way, more children have tough times than we actually acknowledge sometimes. If we say, no, we're going to love on them hard. We're going to love them and care about them, and we're going to step up that level of expectation, and they can meet it. And when you treat a student like that, amazing things happen.
Yeah.
But you got to love them.
Right.
You can't just hold a bar up and then say, something different. You got to love on them. You got to care on them. And then you got to hold that bar high for them.
Exactly. So one closing thing, what is something that you never thought would happen about becoming a superintendent that has happened and kind of opened your eyes and maybe even your heart even more?
My first superintendency was in 2009. This is my third superintendency, and I always felt like I was.
Where was that, by the way?
My first one was at Lassen Union High School District.
Okay.
In Susanville. Second one was at Winters Joynified in Winters, and now in Lake Tahoe. But I want to say this. I always felt like I was a good superintendent, functioning highly. But I really learned during this COVID time that I started in Tahoe and the tough culture and the challenges is that, we can be as smart as we want to in this business, but if we aren't really just taking care of people, then we're going to fall. And we sometimes think we're taking care of people, that you have to really stop and reflect and go, are we really? Are we doing the things that matter most to take care of our staff so that they can take care of the kids? Are we really working with parents that are struggling, that are busy and are trying to make it? And people don't understand at South Lake Tahoe, we're 60% free and reduced. We got families that need us to help take care of them.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we fall short of realizing those things. And I'm not going back to this radically, I'm not trying to baby but I say take care of them, love on them. understand their struggles and have high expectations, and maybe in the family game, right? Hey, this is what we need, but care about them. And I think that I look back on my many years of being a superintendent and go, that's where I got to keep getting better.
Yeah. Well, many times when as educators, we have to educate the whole community, right? So it doesn't just start or stop with the student.
Yeah.
So.
And celebrate too.
Oh, yes.
Educate and celebrate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't celebrate enough in education.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot of glass half empty.
Yeah.
But you happen to look at the bright side, and I appreciate that.
Thanks
for the conversation.
Oh, it was great.
Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this. Todd Cutler from Lake Tahoe. Keep doing, Todd. Appreciate you.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
The Better Learning Podcast is produced by Matt Rogers and edited by Kelly Jones. The views and opinions shared on this podcast are those of the individual speaking and do not necessarily represent the perspectives of their affiliated companies, organizations, or associations.